Alright, hey everybody. Today I'm showing you my copy of Tame Impala's Lonerism, released in October of 2012. It was the second of his current second of, four total albums. Here's the back. I really love the back. Something that's really cool about records is you get to see the extended art, because especially with this album of his, I feel like the album art is very iconic, but we never really see the back unless you have the record. So here's the track listing. Be Above It, Ender Toi, Apocalypse Dreams, Mind Mischief, Music to Walk Home By, Why Won't They Talk to Me, Feels Like We Only Go Backwards, Keep On Lying, Elephant, She Just Won't Believe Me, Nothing That Has Happened So Far Has Ever Been Anything We Could Control, and, well, the last track I was too quick for, so, here, hold on, I could get you the track. Last track, Sun's Coming Up, which is a pretty unique track, because I feel like we don't really hear Kevin Parker outside of his falsetto. It's a very specific way to sing that he does. And the final track on this album, he mostly sings out of his falsetto, so that's pretty interesting. This is a double, and it's a gatefold. As you saw, there was the inner art with the lyrics. I'll show a close-up in a bit, but here's the record. I put all my records in these plastic sleeves to prevent static, dust, scratches, that stuff. Although there's a little dust I can see, so great, because it doesn't work that well. But here's a close-up. I'll show you a close-up of all four sides, just in case you want to take a peek. Please appreciate the beautiful glare and the shininess that the records give off. It's pretty cool. That's the B-side. I feel like I did a Pearl Jam album last time, and I said how the B-side I wasn't as familiar with. But in this case, with this album, I really am a fan of all four sides. I think they're all really, really good, well produced, really catchy. This album is just like, it's become a classic, honestly. And it's sort of become like a meme. This guy, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like if you're like an edgy alt kid, you're like just jumping at the chance to tell everybody that Tame Impala is just like one person. Did you know that? Wow. I feel like all my friends who are into Tame Impala always bring that up, and I'm not bashing, it's just funny. I feel like, I don't know, he's just gotten so big this last decade, really. Yep, there's the D side. Pretty cool. It's really interesting to see all the sides. If you notice, there's like a lot of the runoff. I feel like maybe they could have just fit it all on one disc. You see all the runoff there? It's like half of the album. Half of that side is just runoff, no music. Interesting. Here's me trying to put the record back, failing amazingly. Just take it off screen for a second. Technical problems. I feel like I do that in every video, so it's okay. Just shove it back in. It's okay. It's not gonna hurt it. Cool. Alright, now I think I'll show you the inside. And for this, I think I'm gonna read a review. So hope you guys enjoy that. I really like reading reviews that were made at the time of the release. feel like it's a good time capsule. So here's that. Hope you enjoy. Alright, this is a review from Pitchfork, written by Ian Cohen, October 8th, 2012. Alright, here it is. Tame Impala's second full-length, Lonerism, will once again be compared to albums from the late 1960s and early 70s. But the project is exciting because by maximizing the use of the available technology, it taps into the progressive and experimental spirit of psychedelic rock and not just the sound. If their debut was any indication, Tame Impala's second full-length, Lonerism, will once again be compared to albums from the late 1960s and early 70s. But if their intent was to make a record that sounds like it came from that era, they failed and ended up with something more fascinating. Sure, there's merit to the countless groups and scenes that seek out the right tube amps and compressors and microphones in order to create flawless period pieces. They're often called revivalists, even though the actual term is wasted on them. Are they really breathing new life into this form by keeping it cryogenically frozen in ideas nearly a half-century old? Tame Impala prove far more exciting because by maximizing the use of the available technology, they tap into the progressive and experimental spirit of psychedelic rock and not just the sound. Tame Impala did something similar on 2010's Inner Speaker, and they might be open to same Impala type jokes if the expanse of psychedelic rock were something you'd be expected to move on from after one record. Lonerism does make the kind of tune-ups that typically generate a lot of second LP plaudits. It's leaner, more propulsive, more confident, and less beholden to its influences. But Lonerism's genius manifests itself in Tame Impala's ability to figure out a way to integrate the concepts of electronic music making without resorting to ripping off the breakbeat / Beatles template of Setting Sun. Leader Kevin Parker doesn't sound like an electronic producer. He just thinks like one. He sees his songs as blank canvases rather than boxed-in verse-chorus structures, while emphasizing fluidity, constant motion, and textural evolution. You could spend the entirety of Opener be above it, letting your ears luxuriate in the diversity of tactile sensations. The subliminal whisper of the title becomes a rhythm track. A barreling drum break is severely tweaked to sound like an oncoming rush of bison. A flanged guitar wobbles like neon jello, and Parker's laconic, slightly echoed vocals pulls the whole thing together. Lonerism could go anywhere from that point, which is confirmed by the majestic song that follows, Under Toi. Follow the regal path of the lead synth, or tilt your ears toward the righteously loud drum rolls that sound like masterfully chopped Bonham Moon samples. I'm reminded of Radiohead's stated goal on Airbag, which was to recreate introducing in real time, or what DJ Shadow himself has been trying to do ever since in terms of merging the rarest vinyl grooves with your stony older brother's record collection. Those are the first two songs on Lonerism, and it's bold to lead off with 7 minutes of mostly instrumentals. Yet for all of the sonic trickery, Tame Impala are anchored by the righteous aspects of classic rock. They're throwbacks in the sense that they operate from a pre-punk perspective where each musician has the chops and confidence to be capable of soloing, and the singer and the drummer were cranked loud as hell. Yes, Parker does sound like John Lennon. Many athletes pattern their golf swings after Tiger Woods. Their batting stance on Barry Bonds, or stick out their tongue while taking a jump shot like Michael Jordan. It means little if you don't have the skills to connect and perform. More important is how Parker writes melodies that are instantly memorable, that rise and fall with beautiful simplicity and give what are fairly basic and relatable sentiments heft. Lonerism lacks a chorus that instantly pops like Solitude is Bliss, which is an issue only if you think the best melodies necessarily need to appear in the middle of the song. You'd be hard-pressed to find hooks as catchy as the verses during the run that spans Music to Walk Home By through Elephant, and while none initially stands out as the kind of hit that might push Tame Impala to bigger festival stages, the cumulative effect means Lonerism might. So, the above is all well and good for the people who might use Lonerism to EQ their hi-fis. Does it make you feel anything? On Inner Speaker, Parker sang, "You will never come close to how I feel." So what's the emotional component to Lonerism? Though Parker's lyrics are plain-spoken and occasionally a little elusive, Tame Impala's two records are called Inner Speaker and Lonerism. Some of their songs go by titles like Solitude is Bliss, Why Won't They Talk to Me, Island Walking, and Mind Mischief. You get the idea of where Parker's head is at. Or more to the point, that Parker's head is where he's at. There's a fairly common concern in this realm. You think about most of the technophile, prog rock opuses of recent decades, and most sound like spiritual heirs of King Crimson, Pink Floyd, or Black Sabbath. Records like Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, Kid A, and The Moon and Antarctica tell the listener that their state of being is forced upon them by shadowy governments, by heartless technology, by an uncaring God. It justifies the headphones-bound quarantine. What distinguishes Tame Impala is how they are able to explore the emotional difference between being alone and being isolated. Jason Green described Parker's voice vividly as like someone trapped John Lennon's vocal take from A Day in the Life in a jar and taught it how to sing new songs. In terms of a mentality, to me, it's more along the lines of I'm only sleeping, embodying and advocating a wakeful and passive state of psychedelia. Lonerism derives much of its philosophical and musical pleasure from this interaction of micro and macro. Tame Impala stack vocal and guitar harmonies on the lovably hungover Mind Mischief. And then Parker and co-producer Dave Fridman take control of the mixing consoles and shake the whole thing up like a snow globe. A similarly fun trick on Apocalypse Dreams, which builds the momentum of a bouncy northern soul groove up to a peak before the mix abruptly cuts off and spits them back into a panoramic HD jam. All these rich sounds serve as an alternate take on anticipating technological encroachment, that humanity and technology aren't necessarily at war. You feel small while listening to Lonerism, but in a way that makes you appreciate how man, machine, and Mother Nature can harmonize. Lonerism is portable and joyous in an unforced way. A soundtrack for the times when you're walking downtown and look up at a collection of skyscrapers, or driving through mountain paths on an interstate, or even looking at a Ferris wheel next to an ocean, thinking, holy shit, how did this all get here? That's it. They gave it a 9. Okay, that was the review. And now while you guys watch the record spinning, I will really quick just give you my top, let's say top three tracks that I am going to come up on the spot because they always change, but if you guys have not heard this album, these would be my top 3 to go check out. Well, as a drummer, I would have to recommend Be Above It, the first track. I just love the drum beat. It's not a sample. It's a loop. There we go. It's a loop. It's a really good little drum pattern, and it's pretty fun to play. If you just have the song playing in your head, you could play it on the drums, and it's pretty fun. And the way that song builds up, it's really nice. So definitely check out Be Above It. That would be number 3. I guess Elephant would be number 2, because it seems like the track that over the years is the most played on this album, I think. Or I think maybe got the most commercial recognition. I'm not sure, but it just seems that way. It seems very radio friendly. Really good drums. This whole album has really good drums. Same with Mind Mischief. Yeah, I guess I'd have to go with Mind Mischief for number 1 too. I just really like that song. It's really catchy. I think the nostalgia. Same with the Pearl Jam that I was talking about in my last video. The songs that are my favorite are currently the ones that I remember listening to maybe first, or remember when I first discovered the album. These tracks really worked with me more than the others. But honestly, looking at the track list right now, they're all good songs. It's weird. There's maybe one that I would skip, but none of these are really skip songs. They're pretty good if you're in that mood. So yeah, Be Above It, Elephant, and Mind Mischief are my top 3. Please give them a listen if you guys haven't heard of Tame Impala, which these days it's pretty rare if you haven't, so, but no worries if you haven't. Really good band. Not to mention one guy, I brought that up a little earlier. It is just one dude, pretty cool. Australian. guy. Oh, also real quick, similar to this, I would highly recommend looking up some other bands in the Australian like psychedelic scene. There's I guess off the top of my head, just the one that I would recommend most would be Pond. So if you listen to Tame Impala, you love it, you want to hear something similar, I would check out Pond. I think Kevin Parker, Tame Impala, produced a few Pond albums, and I think they're all friends. So I highly recommend checking that out as well. And I think that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.